Hey, Inspired Tribe, how's it going? It's good to see you all. Just waiting for a few people to jump on here. And we're here in beautiful Florida. Our retreat, the Yada retreat, starts today. Yada stands for You Are the One, and we're very excited to get going this afternoon. But there were a few thoughts that I wanted to share with you that, they come through, and I just feel really inspired, as the name of the channel is, to come up and share this with you. Just let a few people come on here. Maybe YouTube sends out a few notifications. We'll see. And then it's really important, I think, that we look at what's happening right now all around us, that we see it in the right light, that we look at it through the right lens, and that we do the right things, right? And of course, there's not one right thing that everyone can do, but there are things that everyone can do, and things how we navigate through these times. Now, this live stream is called How to Navigate this System Breakdown that we're in. And we're truly in a system breakdown. And as we've talked about this, but it is important to understand what really is happening. Especially, I mean, if you live here in the United States, this might feel very, very new to you because it hasn't happened in such a long time. But however, if you live in places like, Europe and many European countries, or South America, even Asian countries, there have been structural, systemic changes in society in the past that have happened, that have been similar to what we're seeing now. However, this is something completely new that no one has seen quite to this extent. And what is happening is that you see all around you not just a corruption of people, but what you're being shown every day now is the complete collapse of the institutions that we have known, whether that's the justice system, whether that's the medical system, whether that's the scientific system. We need to understand that everything that's been happening over the last period of time, not just the past 2 years, but especially the past 2 years, has been systematic. This is not something that just randomly came on. It's not something that just happened. This is a new phase in this great reset that we're experiencing. But there's a few things that we can do that will not just alter, but change this course of action completely. First of all, if you want to learn a little more about how these changes come about, because the system of how these changes are being brought about is nothing new, it's nothing 2022 about it. This has been done over and over again over the centuries, but most recently a huge structural change has happened in the former Soviet Union and the countries, of course, especially Russia, but all the other countries. Ask the people that have lived through the perestroika. Ask them what they have experienced. Basically, what happened in the early 90s in, for example, Russia, was that they had decided, and they, I mean leadership, had decided that the old system, the communistic, socialistic system, had to be replaced with the Western capitalist system. And so basically all their heroes, all their folk heroes, all their military heroes, the generals, all people that used to be heroes, all of a sudden were villains, were the bad guys, and were hated. And this happened within a few years, and people, were told the old system is evil, the new system is amazing. And so they really pushed this through. And so you can see this change that happened there was a complete 180 as to what they had before. Now, this is happening now all over the world, and we see it. I mean, Italy has already started a social credit system that is kind of like the beginning stages of the Chinese social credit system were. So we see this now everywhere. And there's three distinct groups that are in this. There's the one group that wants this current system to come down, and they have their replacement. That's the global AI, transhumanist, artificial intelligence dictatorship, which is described so well in the Great Reset and the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The cheerleader, number one cheerleader for this is Klaus Schwab. He's out there like happy like a little girl to chip people and turn them into robots. And this is their desired outcome, that the whole world will be under the system. Now there's a second group of people that also want this current system to break down or be completely transformed, which we're part of. I'm not saying we're part of this group, but we're part of the group of people that want this system to be changed and transformed, and who want to transform it. However, we don't believe that it needs to happen through human suffering, through catastrophe, through supply chain breakdowns, and through all this stuff that we're going through. It can and only can happen through consciousness. And for that, people are people that have experienced a certain kind of awakening and are in a certain kind of awakening are the, if you will, role models, for the lack of a better term, for the others, and they can teach and show others. And so through this awakening, there's a natural inclination within all of us to change what we're seeing, because what we're seeing isn't really human. What we're seeing isn't really sustainable. What we're seeing doesn't really feed our souls. It doesn't feed Mother Earth. It's a destructive system. We, as a group, are understanding this as a big group, but there's a subgroup of all of us, that that is already creating a vision forward. Before we go into that, there's a third group. That third group wants the system to stay just as it is. It believes in the authenticity and truthfulness and validity of the system. This is a tricky thing, because as you can see, whether you look at the judicial system or the law system, it's been perverted from something that we know as natural law, common law, even divine law. All these laws have been perverted into commercial laws, into statutory laws. And so this judicial system, or this justice system, has been perverted and is not worth saving as it is. It needs to be transformed and restored to its origins. The monetary system that a lot of people are fighting to keep is still a fractional reserve system, a central banking system that functions in the same way now everywhere in the world. It's not worth saving, because we the people are not in control of this system. It needs to be transformed. So this quote-unquote conservative group, the third group, has a lot of good arguments, a lot of good things to say, and it's not to fight them. It's to, I think, help them see that the system needs to be fundamentally transformed where it serves us, not vice versa. So the one group, I think, that will either make it or break it is really us. Because the thing is that it cannot be done from the top down. It has to be changed grassroots, from the bottom up. And so we the people really need to be the drivers of this change. And what does that mean? Now, the current conversation is all global. It's, we need to take global action. We need to make everybody the same, whether you're in China or whether you're in Antarctica, or whether you are in Austria, or whether you're in the United States, whether you're in Africa. It doesn't matter. We all need to be the same now. This has never worked before. This will never work. But how this consciousness that is awakening express itself positively, it's locally. It's through your own communities. Is beginning with yourself. Number one, like Max Egan said so beautifully, and I encourage you to go back to our most recent interview with Max, where he talks about what freedom really means. It's absolute 100% personal responsibility. 100%. No doubt about it. Every action, everything we need in our lives, everything we have in our lives, everything we do in our lives, we're 100% responsible for. And this begins with the smallest things and ends with the biggest things. We're currently very dependent. So this is the first step. Become completely 100% responsible for your life. What you eat, what you drink, the air that you breathe in, where you live, how you live, so that you are in control of that. But then it's building community. That's your family, that's your immediate friends, that's the people around you, your neighbors. Begin, and don't underestimate the small parts. The small parts are, imagine if today a neighborhood of maybe 50, 60 houses, which is, fairly small for an average sized neighborhood. Imagine if 50, 60 houses came together and they wouldn't discuss about the next chemical that they're going to spray through the neighborhood, or the next pesticide that they're going to put in all the green spaces, but they would actually talk about, how can we make this neighborhood edible? How can we create maybe permaculture in this neighborhood? How can we do these things? And I encourage you here to go and see what Jim Gale is doing with Food Forest Abundance. A beautiful, beautiful project. Um, just look him up. We did 2 interviews with him. We did a bunch of videos. Food Forest Abundance, a beautiful vision. Anyone can do this. What if this community that I live in would think about ways how to have our own clean water here, really clean water, not fluoridated, not a ton of chlorine in it and all the other chemicals. Clean, beautiful, natural water. Are there things out there? We're just exploring one option. That's the Water Liberty Project. We're just learning about this, so go and learn about it with us. Check this out, the Water Liberty Project, which also takes back the power and brings it to the people. Spiritual communities. Now, spirituality is very intimate. It's an intimate subject. It's something that we need to do ourselves. It's not necessarily something that can be dictated. But if you want to learn how to meditate, there's wonderful teachers out there that can teach you how to meditate. If you want to learn the true origin of prayer and how to really pray, there's wonderful people out there that can show you how to pray. So it is in the local level, within your family, your group of friends, your community. That's where the change will happen. And this has a contagious effect. If one settlement, one neighborhood begins to change in this way, others are being absolutely inspired to do the same. They're watching, and this is how we really affect change. And don't underestimate how resilient such a community then is. If you have your own food supply, if you have your own water supply, if you can create your own power, which in today's world is not very challenging anymore, there's lots of possibilities. My goodness, how resilient can we be, and how strong can we become? So this change will be driven here. On this global level, what these great reset psychopaths are doing is, it's evil, it's anti-human, it's not driven by the human soul. It's driven by an evil soulless entity that is hard to put a name to because it's so elusive. But these people are 100% committed to their cause. They're not stopping. They're accelerating. They will not stop unless we stop them. And we stop them by creating something that is better, more sustainable, and that actually inspires people to do this. So this is how we do it. It doesn't require millions and billions of dollars. It requires human inspiration. It requires ideas, creativity coming together, pooling resources, becoming communities again, becoming families again, becoming friends again. This is how we navigate this system breakdown. Also then, if we do this and if we focus on this, we don't have to fear what they're doing, because we are actually fully responsible for our lives, and we take charge, and we are not dependent on what they're doing. So this is the name of the game that we need to play, rather than being fearful of the supply chain breaking down, fearful of the food system breaking down. Well, that's not food to begin with, really. Most of the crap that you can buy in a store is not real food. It's highly processed, toxic shit. And so let's not get fearful. Let's be proactive. What are things that you can do right away? We put a few links in the description of this live stream where you can, there's immediate things, like, do you have an emergency food supply? Are you prepared for these things? Go look it up. We partnered with My Patriot Supply, and you can get a discount for that. And for the packages, if that's something that you haven't done yet or feel you need to do, this is just one step, so you have peace of mind for the immediate future. Then I encourage you, again, go look up Food Forest Abundance, see what they're doing, how they're helping people to create permaculture gardens and yards in their own space, community gardens. This is a revolutionary project, wonderful. Go look it up. Links also in the description. But it isn't about this. Listen, if you find something else that inspires you, if you're part of some, just do it, just be it. It's not a sales pitch. The only sales pitch here is to take responsibility, step into your true power, and become a leader in your own space, own community, local action. That's what we need. And this will trigger a process. If enough local communities everywhere in the world begin to do this, it will trigger a global transformational process. Because we imprint on the field, on the quantum field, on the morphogenetic field, we imprint these ideas and these realizations and these manifestations. It's going into the field and it's transferring over to other places in the world, and it's triggering these insane inspired ideas in other people. This is how this works. This is the name of the game. So let's do this, Inspired Tribe, and wonderful new members, previous members, original members. We love you all. Let's do this in our local communities and where we can have an impact. Thanks for tuning in. We love you all. Christine and I are getting ready. Again, we're starting the Yada retreat down here in Florida this afternoon. Beautiful group of people that's coming together, and we can't wait to create some energetic shifts that are going to create some real shifts in people's lives. So that's the name of the game here. All right, we love you all. Thank you for being here. Please also join us on Locals for unfiltered, uncensored content. Links in the description. All links are in the description. And until we see each other again, we love you, and be abundantly blessed, Inspired Tribe.